Let's do this.
Let's
Woo!
do this.
Do this. Party. Oh, my face just got itchy. Maybe I am stressed.
I just wanted to touch my ears. And I'm like, don't touch your fucking ears. Okay.
Okay, we can do this. We can be productive. All right.
We cannot touch our faces.
We cannot touch our faces, maybe. Welcome to Knitting My Shit Together podcast, where neurodivergence meets knitting and mental health and other fibery goodness. I'm Annika. I use they, them pronouns. I am in Moses Lake, Washington. You can find me online on Ravelry at Threadcatcher and on Instagram at TFueledLiving.
Hi, I'm Farrah. I use she, her pronouns. I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you can find me on Ravelry as at Farrah Knits and on Instagram at TomboyFembags.
All right, so why don't we just touch base about our knit along real quickly before.
Totally. And if you're new,
welcome.
Yay!
Thank you for watching. And if you're not new and have watched more than one episode of us,
bless your heart.
We appreciate you so much. And we have questions. I'm just kidding. All right. So we have a knit along starting October 1st. And it is going to be running from then all the way through March 31st, right?
30 days has September, April, May. 31st.
We do this every single time.
Every time I have to say the stupid rhyme in my head.
I know. I'm going to have to write it down. There's too many pages on my calendar, so it just doesn't fit. It's okay. Anyways, we are going to be hosting the Cover Your Ass Knit Along. And the pattern that we are going to be using is Elizabeth Zimmerman's Nether Garments. You can find it in this book.
Yay!
And
copy
for other books.
Yeah, it's in the Opinionated Knitter as well.
Yes. And yeah.
Which I can show people that one.
October is coming up way quicker than I expected. I'm getting really, really excited.
The Opinionated Knitter. And it's a little more pricey, hardcover, but full of great Elizabeth Zimmerman snark.
And yeah, the Knitter's Almanac is only $7 on Amazon. So for the paperback version, I think the Kindle was only $3 if you were having the Kindle version. But
yeah.
I forget that I have ebooks, and if I have the actual physical copy, I'm less likely to lose the pattern. So
you know what I love? So the Opinionated Knitter is her newsletters that she sent out. And what she would do is type them. I mean, Xerox machines weren't really a thing. It was carbons and all of that. Look at that. It's the old typewriter style, exactly as she would send them out. And this is one of my, I love this book. I love just flipping through it and reading it. Okay, tangent, go.
Anyway, we're going to be hosting it from October 1st through March 31st. And so it's about 6 months that you have to make these knitted legging,
long underwear
things, however you decide to do them. You don't necessarily have to do that pattern if it doesn't call to you. That's cool too. We just want you to knit or crochet something that covers your ass. That's what we're going for. But yeah, the Elizabeth Zimmerman pattern is size inclusive too. There is math involved, just warning you now, but we're willing to help with math needs. We're also, if you need yarn support or if you need help financially getting the book and the pattern, reach out to Farrah and I. We can help you with that.
Yes.
Yes. Any other updates with?
I'm still going to put the post on Ravelry about patches. So we're thinking of creating Knitting My Shit Together merit badges and having one for the Cover Your Ass Cal and having one for subscribers. And then we'll grow the list of them. I think we should always have a Cal going. Like, this will be our first one. And then maybe we do one in the spring but like we do like 2 a year. Because let's be honest about our capacities for organization on a serious level. Like, I think we do 2 a year, like one over the warmer, one like spring through late summer, and one like fall through late winter.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bam.
That gives us plenty of time to think of what we're going to do for the next one then.
I know. And we'll try and have everyone have a cuss word in it.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, shall we move on to FOs?
So, we wanted to have our friend Sultan here with us to talk about the Cal. Hi, Sultan. This is Sultan.
Hello.
He uses he, him pronouns. And he is Spun Nomadidico on Instagram. And we have, the three of us, talked extensively about this Cal. And Sultan, you got really excited. You were like on it. Tell us about it.
I have a cake swatch. It won't be this color, but it will be the same type of yarn. I'm making it in Train Case, which is by Miss Crosby. I had to look at the label. I'm doing it in Frank because I'll probably wear black more often than any other color. But I'm so happy we're doing Elizabeth Zimmerman. She's not a sponsor, she's dead, but
yeah. Her ghost is sponsoring this Cal.
Imagine, like, yeah, we have a zombie sponsor.
That would be
Knit along starting in October. Like,
we'll get a ton of followers. We did have
the first ever
sponsor.
like supernatural / metaphysical knit along, where like the undead are part of it.
We should do that sometime.
We should.
But
maybe
I love the nether garments because it's size inclusive. You can customize it. I have not decided on an ease, but I'm thinking a negative ease of 10% maybe, which I don't think she adds a negative ease to her pattern, but I will just multiply the number by 0.05 or 0.10 if I decide on a 10 or a 5 and get the numbers.
Sultan, one thing you and I have talked about is, so you're going to put footies on yours.
Yes, I'm starting mine as socks.
At the toe.
At the toe. I'm starting with the toe all the way up.
Okay, here's a question. Are you going to knit a P-flap in yours?
No.
Okay. If I had the anatomical equipment to pee standing up and just undoing pants, I would totally put a seam up the front and button it so that I could do that.
But I'm thinking I might wear it as leggings. So...
yeah.
Okay, that makes
I don't want things to fall out.
That would make for some awkward public moments.
Yeah. And I've had those on the train where like my zipper broke once and like no one told me.
It's like, thanks people for telling me.
But yeah, I'm starting out as a toe and I think I'm going to go up to the ankle and then switch to the bigger needles. And I might have a row of decreased stitches just to make it fit right. and have a smoother transition from ankle to leg.
So I think how I'm going to account for ease is I'm going to cast on the same number I do for socks. Because I'm going to use sock weight yarn. I'm using this yarn. That's lovely.
Gorgeous.
And it's a sock weight, and I'm going to knit them on ones, which is what I do my socks on. Yes, I'm knitting leggings on ones. But I think to factor in the ease, I'm like, oh, if I just do it for the same number I did socks, like I know that will fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And you got the size for your socks for your ankle, so.
Yeah.
And then the increases in the pattern will.
And so the pattern says, without giving away too much of the pattern, I don't want to give away. So in the pattern, she gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measurements to take for your legs and body. And then you just multiply that by your gauge of stitches to the inch. So I guess what I'll do is start at the ankle like I do my socks, cast on, and then just knit. And then talk amongst yourselves. It might be UPS with a delivery.
Oh, okay.
Odd. I get there, and there's just a dude standing on my porch with a toolbox on wheels, looking like a fix-it person. And apparently my partner got a new TV that needs to be wall-mounted and can't do it. And so he hired somebody who makes house calls on Sundays, apparently.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's who it was. So I'm just like, hi. I think you might be here for the other person. Okay. Anyway, back to what we were doing.
The 5 measurements.
Yeah. So I think what you could do is if you want to start just at your ankle, cast on what you do for socks, then knit for a while, get your gauge from that, and use that to figure out the math for everything else, right?
Yeah, if you're using the same needles.
Yeah.
Size.
And the same yarn.
And the same yarn, yeah. Because I'm using the same yarn that I've used for a ton of my socks. But I'm going to switch to a bigger needle because we wanted the leggings to breathe more.
Annika, how are you going to do it?
I'm using leftover sock yarn and sock yarn that I just don't really want to make socks out of. And I'm just going to random stripe it and end up with hopefully like some semblance of rainbow leggings out of sock yarn. So I'm planning on using size 2 needles like I normally do when I'm knitting socks. And yeah.
I love it. It's gonna be super cute.
I'm really excited.
I thought about striping mine, but I don't want to weave in a lot of ends.
Well, since we are starting this project and I'm on a yarn diet, I'm stash diving. So
Smart.
I might make a worsted pair too, just so I have something warm. Because we moved somewhere where like it would snow maybe once a year, and now we have like 3 months of snow. So I think I'll make it pairs so I have something warm to wear while walking the kids to school and back. So
I will say if I really love these, because my merino leggings that I have that are store-bought and manufactured, commercially made, I wear the heck out of them in the winter. And, you know, they weren't cheap. So I, like, plan to repair any holes or snags, and I plan to do this for these as well. But I'm like, if I really love them, I might knit more than one pair in my life, you know, because I live in a cold weather climate.
Yeah. I think the other thing, too, is, like, for me, since I am a fat person, like, That's going to be a lot of stitches, like just in general. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I really like instant gratification projects, and knitting a whole pair of leggings in sock weight yarn is not very instant gratification for someone my size.
It's the opposite of instant gratification.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna knit a worsted weight pair too, just so I also get that more instant gratification.
Oh, and you folks might also know Sultan because he's a moderator on our Ravelry group. Sultan, are you going to join our cast-on party?
I will most likely be there with my yarn.
Well, you have no choice now.
I know. I'm like, I have to be there. No, it'll be fun.
I have to be there.
It'll be fun. I loved our last cast-on party, so this one will also be fun. And it'll be similar. I'm only casting on 20 stitches, so.
I'll be casting on 60, so.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be increasing to 60.
I'm going to do a knit one, purl one, like twisted rib in the beginning.
Ooh.
I don't know for how much. On my socks, I do like an inch. I'm thinking like an inch and a half.
Yeah, a bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 inches.
Have you thought about the waist?
Yes. I
What are
have
you
a whole
doing
fucking plan.
I still haven't. I was like, it's the last thing, so I'll just wait for it.
So what I'm going to do...
I'm stealing Farrah's idea. Like, when she said what she's doing, I'm like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. Check.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is when I get to where I want the waist in, I'm going to keep knitting and stockinette for an inch and a half. Then do one purl round, and then do a more stockinette for another inch and a half. And then at that purl round, it creates an edge that naturally folds. You know this. And I'm going to fold it over and then bind off. Well, I'll bind off, fold it over, and I'm going to put elastic in it. I'm going to like close elastic to what I want my waist to be. And then whip stitch with yarn that casing closed. And then it'll be like a waistband, because with long underwear, I don't want them slipping down and having to pull them up all damn day. And so the best way to do that is to put in a good waistband. And so that's why I'm going to make the casing with elastic.
That's a smart idea. That's what I might be doing too.
Yeah.
I like that actually, yeah. Because I thought about doing an I-cord and then just like kind of doing a similar thing where I just fold it and leave 2 openings and pull it and tie it. But with that too, I'll stretch out.
Do you have a sewing machine?
That also means that you have to...
Okay.
That also means you have to knit an I-cord, like, that long.
Well, I have one of those machine thingies, the mechanical thingies. So
Oh.
if you want to make... I can make you an I-cord if you want.
Well, Sultan, I was going to say, when you come here in January, before you come, buy 1-inch elastic that you like, in a color you like, bring it with you, and when you get here, you and I can measure it what you want, and what width you want, and I can sew it for you on my machine, so then all you'll have to do is put it in.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be excited for that now. So I wasn't sure what I'm going to do with the waist.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about the Cal before we end this segment of the podcast?
I'm excited for it.
Me too. It's going to be really fun.
It is. And I love that how we have it over how long?
6 months.
6 months.
6 months. So there's a lot of time to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would urge people, unless you're doing it in like chunky or worsted weight yarn, I would urge people to not wait until December, or I mean, not to wait until like
last minute
February and be like, oh, I mean, you're welcome to. It's not like you have to finish, but I think if you really want to knit the whole pair in that time, cast on October 1st when we do.
Oh. I would probably give more people more time to join in who haven't heard about it yet.
Yeah. And the thing is, by casting on earlier, rather than slogging through like 10 feet of stockinette stitch, which essentially is what you're doing, you can just do a little bit at a time. Like, what if you just did an inch a day?
Yeah.
Like, even at the waist, that would be doable.
True.
I don't know. Yeah. I know I won't end up in doing that. I know, like, I'll be like, ooh, here's an idea. You could do an inch a day. And then I'll be like, F that. And then, like, one day I'll be like, I have to knit a foot. And do a whole bunch. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Sultan.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to seeing you and hanging out with you and you getting to know all the people at the knit-along.
It'll be fun.
It will be.
Join us.
Do you have any FOs this week?
No. It's a total fucking fail the past 2 weeks. I don't.
You had an FO last week. I did not.
Okay, yeah. I just feel like I haven't gotten a lot of knitting done, but that probably isn't true.
You might not have gotten like a lot of like actual knitting done, but you've gotten like so much spinning and so much sewing done. And then also too, you were working on that shawl that you like ripped out like 4 different times because you like had restarted it 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, you've gotten a lot of knitting done. Just it's cool.
Yeah, it's good. I'm fine. I mean, I'm not like beating myself up about it. I'm just like, well, I have a week. I'll talk about that in WIP. So you go. What are your FOs?
All right. So I have 2 FOs this week. My first FO is a pair of vanilla socks.
Love those colors.
These were knit toe up on size 2, US size 2 Tiago's. And yeah, the yarn, so the speckly yarn on the toes and the heels, because if we're honest, I just got in the groove of knitting and forgot to change back when I was doing the cuff. The toes and heels are Euphoria Knits, sock base and the colorway is Rorschach, which I think is a pretty good name for a gray-white.
It is.
Speckled one.
I never know how to say that dude's name. Rorschach. I can't remember. Have you ever taken a Rorschach test?
Yes, I have taken them several times.
Me too. Have you ever taken the MMPI?
MMPI.
It's the like 250 true and false questions developed at the University of Minnesota, I might say.
I think I have.
So if you've never taken it, folks, it's the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory is what it stands for. And there's really hysterical true-false questions in it. So go on, continue on FOs.
The main body of the sock yarn is Onyx Fiber Arts, and this was the May 2019 colorway, if I remember correctly. But it was called Blossom or Bloom. I should have grabbed that.
I really like it.
Either way, it was a 1-month special colorway that Onyx Fiber Arts did, and it's, there we go, rainbow, and it's speckly, and the moment I saw it, I knew I had to have it, and it just makes, like, the cushiest socks, and I love it. Yeah. So I'm really excited to wear these now that they are done, and yeah. All right, and then the other thing that I completed this week was that I test knit Sultan, who is Phenomenidity Co. Yeah.
And one of our BFFs.
Yes. One of our BFFs. He wrote a knit version of his ice cream pint cozy with the spoon holder. And I test out the knit version for him too. And I was gonna grab a thing of ice cream, but like I didn't want to get up to go put it away because I personally worried that it would melt all over my brand new bed. We got a new bed this week. I'm so excited. But for this, like, I knit it in
2 hours.
Just 2 hours yesterday. And the top is leftover Red Heart ombre from a past project. And then Red Heart Super Saver, I think this is the Aran Tweed. But yeah, super quick knit, super fun. And it fits really, really well around my Talenti pint. And it was perfect. And it makes it so my hands don't hurt. So
yes, I'm test knitting that one. And gonna maybe cast it on today. But I can't decide if I'm gonna do it in worsted or hold 2 strands of fingering together, which could be fun. Cause yeah. Okay. Go on.
So that's it for my FOs for this week. Sweet.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Move on to whips.
Sure.
All right.
You
want to go?
I have stuff to say in the world of whips. Okay. So one is what I'm working on now. So I really did focus on Issa's Box O College knits. This is the last sock I'm working on.
Ooh.
With a button progress keeper by me, Tomboy Femme Bags. So it's just my vanilla sock pattern for them. Luca size 1 needles. Pretty simple. Then there's a little story. Okay. This
is it weird I got the theme song from the Brady Bunch stuck into my head when you said that? Like my brain instantly went, here's a story.
See, now it's going to be stuck in my head. You've never said it. I wouldn't have. You should have kept that shit in your head. Keep that shit in your own head.
Where the fun in that be? Sorry.
Because that's an earworm for sure. Okay.
It is.
So, my next thing is this hat. It's a brioche hat. The pattern is by Jared Flood. It's called Skip with 2 P's. I love it. I was knitting this last week, and I had got like maybe 1.5 inches done, and I was knitting it using Yeti yarns. But my child decided they didn't like the Yeti yarns. This is why. They thought, I don't know why, honestly, because it's gorgeous yarn that they picked out. But I'm totally happy with that because those 2 skeins of Yeti yarns look beautiful together, and I'm going to put them in some kind of faded something. So I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to have the Yeti yarns. I will have it. Gladly. Then I cast it on, recast it on using Brooklyn Tweed Loft. I also have a Brooklyn Tweed Yarns problem. I love it. So this is Loft. I can't remember the 2 colors, dark gray and an even darker gray, basically. And it's a 2-color brioche hat. It's going to be adorable.
You've gotten so far on it.
And I'm knitting myself one. I have about another 2 inches to go before I begin the decreases. And then it's like 32 rows in the decreases, and I'll be done. This is the slouchy length. Like, the great thing about this pattern is it comes in beanie length, slouchy length, or the kind where you can flip up the brim, which in 2-color brioche gives a really cool effect. So this is the slouchy length. And I've already decided I'm going to knit one for myself as well. And I was going to get some Brooklyn Tweed Yard, which I see myself knitting several of these because I love this pattern. But I think I'm going to knit it in my Forest Fiber Arts Lake Life.
Ooh, that'd be pretty.
Which will be gorgeous because I love Forest Fiber Arts. And do a 1-color one, and then I'll do a 2-color one later because I was going to use that Lake Life to knit the Yanagi socks, which is a sock with like a lace work kind of cable-y thing running up the side. But I've just come to admit that I don't like doing intricate socks. I like doing really simple socks, like Hermione's Everyday Sock or vanilla socks. Like, that's my jam. And I need to do what I like. or I don't want to hate my knitting. So I think I'm going to actually, as soon as I finish this, cake up the Forest Fiber Arts and cast on another one in that. And I think it will be one of my main winter hats because fall is coming. I'm so excited.
Me too. I can't wait.
Last night I was up spinning and I had the windows open in my studio and I had to put on a merino sweater.
Wow.
It was lovely. But I live north, people, so don't worry yourself if you're like, why the hell is she putting on a sweater? I mean, fall's going to hit here. I'm definitely feeling autumn in the air, and that's going to happen here sooner than it will other places in the U.S., in the contiguous U.S. Oh, I have one other whip that I worked on. I'm only showing things I worked on, not stuff I didn't work on. Okay, I got on my spinning wheel. I always have singles I'm working on that I'm hand spinning. I have more, but they're in the jar. But I got my wheel, and just to give a shout out, so Taylor of Fogborn Designs is a woodworker and artist here in Minneapolis, and I reached out to him. And he basically, my wheel was painted with black glitter by Sultan, who I love. And I love that he did that, but that's not my vibe. It's kind of his thing. So I wanted it stripped down to the original wood. And so Taylor of Fogborn Designs did that for me. And I got it back this week. And it turned out lovely. The black paint did stain a little of the wood. But I left it natural, and Taylor put on a layer of linseed oil for me, which was nice. So I started doing spinning lessons on Blueprint because that's a whole nother story. But I'm doing the spinning essentials class or something on there by Amy King. But this is what I'll say, or essentials of spinning. I can't remember. So I did some of the practice exercises where you're just treadling and doing knitting with your hands, and I was a rock star at them. And then last night I moved on to the next lesson. It was tricky, but I started to get the hang of it, but then had to go to bed, and I did it really late when I'm tired. So today I'm going to make a bag and then try it again. And I think if I just practice, but what was happening is I was treadling with a Z spin, and then it would start catching my yarn in the good way and spinning, and then I would panic and then start treadling the opposite way. So last night, this is my first spun something resembling yarn, kind of. And I've turned it into a garland that I drape over my cork boards by my sewing machine and sewing area. So I'm going to work more on that. That's another whip I have going.
Sweet.
Yeah. And that's it for me and whips.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. Wait. We interrupt this podcast recording for my partner. We switched to SodaStream just to save waste and stuff. But I asked him, I'm like, can you get me a real Coke Zero just as a treat? The day Coca-Cola starts putting their syrup out for the SodaStream and you can do Coke Zero, OMG. Okay, go on. I'm good now.
All right, so I have 2 whips this week, and both are socks.
That's awesome.
I think that's really funny, actually. All right, so the first whip that I have, is a half whip, half FO, because I finished a whole sock. The ends are woven in and everything. I was just really excited.
Love that yarn.
So this is Tom's Horseshoe Sock by the Jeweled Knitter. I hand dyed this yarn using jacquard acid dyes in pumpkin and sprinkling it with some chestnut. And the yarn base is the Premier I didn't bring the label back. It's Premier's Deborah Norville Serenity Sock Base. It's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it turned out really, really pretty. So, yeah, so I have a full sock done, and now I just need to knit the second sock. So I'm really excited. The pattern was actually like super fun to knit. Like, I hate cabling personally. Like, love the way it looks. Hate trying to like not stab myself with the third needle. But like, this cabling looks way harder than it actually was, which I really appreciated. So, love this sock.
You know what's interesting? Lace, I hate, and I suck at it. My brain can't do it. Cabling, I love and can totally do.
Huh. I love the look of cabling. Like, it is on my knitting bucket list to knit like an actual like fisherman sweater with all of that beautiful cables. But I don't know. I just, maybe it's because like most of my knitting is done around my kids, and so like I'm trying to have them follow the number one rule in our family, which is you have to survive childhood. And like that is literally like the one rule that we have in this house. And so like trying to have my kids follow that rule and not stab myself with a cable needle at the same time, I think is just too much for my brain. Like,
but they're going to school this week.
Yeah, they start school on Wednesday.
God bless the public school system. But here's the thing. You could do a cable fisherman sweater while they're in school.
Maybe once I finish my classes, like maybe that next semester. Maybe. All right. And yeah. All right. The other whip that I have, like I said, is another sock, and this is being knit.
Love it.
On Chiago's size 2, because that's what I knit all of my socks with. And the yarn is Knit Picks Felici yarn. And this is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And the colorway is called Playhouse. And this is what it looks like in this skein. It's actually like really soft and like really nice to work with. I'm really enjoying it. Plus it stripes really nicely too. And then this Progress Keeper is from Whatnot.
Yay, and Whatnot.
I love watermelon things, and so when I saw that she had a watermelon Progress Keeper, I had to do it. The pattern is from our friend Yelly. She hasn't like officially released this pattern or anything like that, but when I saw her knitting the socks in this pattern, I'm like, can you share please? Because I love it. So it's super fun. Yes. And
can I show off two more? Can I show off two sewing FOs that I forgot about?
Do it.
Okay, so as you know, I do Tomboy Femme bags, and you know that adage, like, what is it? The cobbler's children go barefoot kind of thing. That was me in bags. Like, I didn't really have any of my own bags that I really loved. Because what I would do is, like, when I was first designing and deciding what I would do and make a mistake, I would just keep those bags for me and use them. But then I'm like, I want some bags I really love. So I decided to make some. So the first one is I made this Notions pouch using some 7-berry fabric, which is from Japan. And it's a black and white polka dot that I love. I have pants. This is leftover from pants I made.
That's cool.
And I think I just kept the inside black. I just wanted a really simple Notions pouch. So this is my zipper top Notions pouch. And I love it. And then, so I always have socks with me, always, because they're the ultimate fidget toy. And they just really help with my anxiousness when I'm out and about and with my anxiety. So I wanted to make a socks to go bag. And what's funny is when I'm out getting upcycled fabrics and I find one I really love, I never use it for myself. I always use it for a bag that I put in the shop. And I was out looking at upcycled fabrics and I saw this one and I was like, I'm keeping this for me because I love this fabric. So this is my bag. It says it's a sock, and it's my sock to go bag that I'm going to use I put the stuff I use to make socks in here in it, which is all I need is a tape measure, a scissors, a darning needle, or a tapestry needle, and a progress keeper. And this is my socks to go bag. And I didn't make a handle for this because, so all of my bags that have handles come with a carabiner O-ring clip, and I have them in brass and silver, because you can either clip the handle on that I usually make, but I didn't for me, or you can take the handle off and clip this to like a backpack or purse or bag. And whenever I'm out and about, I'm always carrying either a backpack or my messenger bag. So I just left this like this and clip it to whatever I'm doing when I'm out and about and knitting a sock. So this is my new sock bag for me.
I love it. That plaid. I love plaid. Makes me so happy.
I love it. It's like old man herringbone plaid because it's wool. It's from like a suit coat. I love it. And then I just did a solid navy blue interior with a denim pocket. And that's
I also love the semi passive aggressiveness of your patches that say it's a sock.
Yeah, and I did that because whenever I'm out, people will be like, I'll have this, and people will be like, what are you knitting? Or what are you making? And I'm always like, it's a sock. And so I'm like, I just need to write it on my bag, and that way people will know. So that's my other FO that I wanted to show off because it's for me, and I love them. Awesome. Yeah. What now, Annika?
Oh, yeah, we should probably do the mental health moment, since this is a knitting and mental health. Well,
we should.
Or podcast.
Mental health moment.
Woo-hoo. All right. So this week, my face is so itchy. I need to put on moisturizer, obviously. You all didn't need to know that. That's cool. I have really dry skin. Super fun in the summer. Anyway, this week for mental health moment, I thought we'd talk about something that Farrah and I have been, it's a DBT skill called radical acceptance, and Farrah and I have been using it a lot this week. At least we've discussed using it a lot this week. And yeah, so radical acceptance in its most basic form is accepting that what's happening in reality is what's happening. And it's not letting yourself be in denial about what's happening or what happened. It's literally taking the emotion out of it and being like, this is just what it is. And by doing that, it, one, helps you be mindful about what's actually happening and makes it so you have an easier time, I guess, after a bunch of practice of doing this, from trying to emotionally run away from your problems. And yeah.
And I think that one thing to reiterate is radical acceptance isn't a one-time event. So for the same thing that you need to radically accept, you might have to radically accept it over and over and over again. It's sometimes, because hard stuff is hard to radically accept. Really sad things are hard to radically accept. And so it's a process.
Yes. And so radical acceptance, things that you would use radical acceptance for are breakups, trauma events, specific parts of those trauma events, and normally you would like radically accept like pieces of it until you can radically accept that the whole entire event happened. Radical acceptance also is good for like even just acknowledging like your emotions that are uncomfortable for you to sit with. So like I've used radical acceptance personally with like days that I wake up and I'm like, I feel really, really sad today. And I personally can't think of a reason why I should feel this way, but this is how I feel. And that's what it is. And so.
And for me as a person, as someone who's mentally ill, like I've had to go through, since this is really the first time in my life I've begun tackling and living in really like active recovery, I've had to radically accept that A, I'm now going to be living in really active recovery, and B, that I even have a mental illnesses. Like, I have to radically accept that instead of like wishfully thinking that after a few good days, one day I'm going to wake up and like, bling, like I have a neurotypical brain all of a sudden, because that's not going to happen. Yeah. Do you want me to read from my book?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is my DBT workbook, you can see. And DBT, in case people are wondering, stands for Dialectical Behavior Therapy. And dialectical means a dialectic is the idea that two things which appear to be opposite can both be true at the same time, and holding both of those things at the same time. So I can be sad and I can still be okay with myself.
Yes.
Like those seem opposite, but I can hold them both at the same time. So dialectical behavior therapy, it's an offshoot of cognitive behavior therapy, but it's different, and it's rooted in mindfulness practices and teaching you, it's like reparenting your brain. Like for folks who grew up with traumatic events or in an invalidating environment or both of those or neurodivergent, like all those things combined, our brains never learned how to hold dialectics, how to emotionally regulate, all of those things. And so some of it might sound really simple, especially to non-neurodivergent folks, but you have to, it's like going through and reparenting your brain, teaching your brain how to do some of those things, or how to be mindful that you need to make the effort to do them.
And the thing that needs to be said too is that when you go through DBT, it's not like
you get repaired.
A once a week talk to a therapist for an hour and then you're just done and can put it out of your mind. Like, it's a class that you have to attend, plus a therapy session, plus homework that you actively have to work on during the week, and then discuss the next week about how you worked on that. So, like, it's a lot of actual work of, like, reprogramming your brain to do specific things when you feel specific emotions or, like, encounter specific situations. Like, it's actually a lot of work. It's not, like, not that there's anything wrong with just normal, like, talk psychotherapy, like, super helpful for a lot of people, and that's great. But, like, DBT is, like, rooted in actual, like, work to make your brain.
And it's really research and evidence-based. So there's tons of research about it, and it's very much an evidence-based therapeutic model. And it's also to say, like, so I graduate probably from phase 1 in October or November. Woo! And this is what I can tell you. Phase 1 is a year long. Even in the past 2 months, my brain, I can totally see changes the way it's changed. But I want to caveat it by saying this, I'm never not going to have a mental illness. Like, the skills I'm learning are never going to become automatic for me. They're not. So that cannot be an expectation. I will always have to be intentional and mindful about using them. It's just that over the course of the year and remapping your brain, being mindful and intentional about using the DBT skills becomes easier. It becomes easier, and the time between action and reaction shortens.
Yes.
So that's what I'll say too. It's never going to become automatic, ever. So.
And as someone who graduated from DBT, what year are we in? 2019. So I graduated 3 years ago, almost exactly. Like, I still have to think about using mindfulness skills. I still have to think about using distress tolerance skills and emotional regulation skills. However, thanks to all of the practice that I've had, like, in the year and a half that I was in DBT, and like since then, it's way easier, and it doesn't take as much emotional and physical energy. Like, unless it's a very like repetitive, distressing situation that I can't get away from, like, I don't feel exhausted anymore using those skills.
But in the beginning, it's fucking exhausting and horrible, and it really, I think, gets worse almost before it gets better.
Yes.
Because basically what's happening is all the coping mechanisms you've been using up until now, you're taking those away one at a time. But your brain it's not easy for your brain to use this alternative skills you're using. So, yeah, I just remember in the beginning, like, crying a lot. Okay, so
Thank you.
Radical acceptance. So this is from the DBT Skills Training Handouts and Worksheets, 2nd edition by Marsha Linehan, who developed DBT. Oh, also, we're not therapists. We're mental health care patients and consumers. So don't take any of this as clinical therapeutic advice. You should totally go talk to a licensed provider. We are just sharing our experiences and what we've learned and what's helpful for us and what, yeah, that's it. Okay. So radical acceptance, this is how the worksheet defines it. So what is radical acceptance? Radical means all the way, complete and total. It is 2, it is accepting in your mind, your heart, and your body. And 3, it's when you stop fighting reality, stop throwing tantrums because reality is not the way you want it, and let go of bitterness. What has to be accepted? Reality as it is. The facts about the past and the present are the facts, even if you don't like them. 2, there are limitations on the future for everyone, but only realistic limitations need to be accepted. 3, everything has a cause, including events and situations that cause you pain and suffering. And 4, life can be worth living even with painful events in it. So why accept reality? 1, rejecting reality does not really change reality, which is really unfortunate because I tried that formula.
So many times.
So many times. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Okay. 2, changing reality requires first accepting reality. Also true. 3, pain can't be avoided. It's nature's way of signaling that something is wrong. And 4, and I love this concept Marsha developed, rejecting reality turns pain into suffering. So Marsha in DBT defines suffering is as pain plus non-acceptance equals suffering. Like, we are all going to experience pain, but we get to choose whether or not we suffer. Yeah. 5, refusing to accept reality can keep you stuck in unhappiness, bitterness, anger, sadness, shame, or other painful emotions. Yes. 6, acceptance may lead to sadness, but deep calmness usually follows. I believe that's also true. 7, the path out of hell is through misery. By refusing to accept the misery that is part of climbing out of hell, you fall back into hell. It's true.
It's true.
Okay, here's what radical acceptance is not. I just have a few more things to read because I think they're good. Radical acceptance is not approval, compassion, love, passivity, or against change. And factors that interfere with acceptance. 1, you don't have the skills for acceptance. You do not know how to accept really painful events and facts. Number 2, you believe that if you accept a painful event, you're making light of it or approving of the facts, and that nothing will be done to change or prevent future painful events. 3, emotions get in the way, such as unbearable sadness, anger at the person or group that caused the painful event, rage at the injustice of the world, overwhelming shame about who you are, and guilt about your own behavior. So just to illustrate, give an example of accepting a painful event doesn't mean approving it. Let me see. Let's say someone does something that really hurts you, and it makes you feel rejected and sad and bitter. You can radically accept that they did that. Okay, they did this thing and it really hurt me and it's really making me feel this way. But that doesn't mean you have to approve of what they did or say that what they did is okay. You can even go to them and say, hey, you did this thing, this happened, and it really hurt me. I felt this way because of it. Like, that is still practicing radical acceptance.
The whole point of radical acceptance is not to be like, oh, it hurts to think about this thing that happened, so I'm just going to pretend that it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Radical acceptance is making it so you sit with the pain and be like, yeah, that really sucked that this happened, and it hurts when I think about it, but it happened. So.
Okay, do we each want to share, if you feel comfortable, something we're working on radically accepting right now? Just to be personable?
Sure.
Or personal? We are personable. Personal.
Something that I am radically accepting currently is that I cannot change who my spouse is inherently. There are just things that he just doesn't get that personally I wished he did. And I am working on radically accepting that he just doesn't get it. And he just doesn't get it. And it sucks and it hurts for the things that he doesn't get, but he doesn't get it. And
you can still love him.
And I can still love him. And I can still accept him as who he is as a person, because that's who he inherently is. And him not getting these things doesn't mean that he's a bad person, and doesn't mean that he doesn't love me and stuff like that. It just means that he just doesn't understand what I need or what I want him to understand. And that's what it is. So, yes.
I think, okay, moment of real vulnerability here. I think my big radical acceptance thing I'm working on, I think I could say radically accepting having my mental illness, which I am working on, but I think I've kind of come to the place where I do. But I think if I'm really honest and vulnerable, which I feel safe doing, is radically accepting the breakup with my partner before I even started the podcast. I really loved her. And she said she really loved me. And it's really, really hard accepting how things went down and what happened, and radically accepting that I can still really love her and it can still be over. And I can still be okay and go forward. It's hard. This one's a process for me.
It's hard too, trying to separate the emotions from the actual event.
Yeah.
That you're trying to radically accept too, because I feel like the emotions are I want to cling on to this, and it makes it hard.
Yeah, It does. It's really hard. But it's okay. This is one of those things that I have to keep radically accepting over and over and over, like every day. And it's getting easier, I think. I want to cry right now just talking about it. That's how much I'm working on radically accepting it. Okay, moving on. We'll use the distraction skill. What next?
That was it for what I wrote down.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about other things that we're radically accepting because I have a list.
Me too.
Oh, I'm so not used to having a headboard. In case anyone wants to know, this is the first bed frame we've had in almost 10 years of marriage.
Which is awesome.
I am so excited. It's life-changing. But I've already hit various body parts on it because I'm not used to the new dimensions of our bed. So, okay.
Hey, everyone. Also, there was something I was going to bring up. Oh, we have a Ravelry group you can go join. We're at Knitting My Shit Together. The link is in our link tree on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram at Knitting My Shit Together. What else? Go join the Cover Your Ass Cal. I personally have been really shitty at updating Instagram this week, and I'm sorry. I need to make it more of a priority for knitting my shit together. We'll maybe talk about that after the recording and make goals or something. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it.
For those of our followers who have children that are school aged, when are your guys' kids going back to school?
In Minnesota, school doesn't start till after Labor Day.
On the other side of the mountains, school doesn't start till after Labor Day, so this is a new one for me.
When we lived in Colorado, school started in August. Like, it's already started there most places.
Wow.
I know.
Is it because of snow days?
No, because we get more snow here. But I think they also finish in May, whereas here we finish in June.
We finish in June out here. I know that they start earlier to try and have less makeup snow days at the end of the year and whatnot.
I like going from September to June better than May to August. You know what I mean? Or August to May.
Yeah. When I lived in California, where we lived was on year-round schooling. And so depending on what track you were on would depend on when you would go to school. And the track that my sister and I were on, we didn't have like the normal like 3 months off in the summer. We had like October off and January and I think part of February. And it was fantastic.
Let's just quick do a wrap up and I'll stop the recording and then I'll re-record when Sultan gets here, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So, yeah, that's it.
Thanks for joining us.
Follow us. Like and subscribe. Oh, and we're going to do live streams.
Yes. What days do we do live streams?
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Wednesdays and Fridays. That's right, because the podcast itself gets uploaded Mondays. I'm like, I know it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I couldn't remember like what day of the week it even currently is.
Yeah. So. Okay. We will see you all this week.
Bye.
Bye.